Is your type starting to look a little red flag parade with a side of love bombing? Or maybe you're wondering, why am I so into people who clearly are not good for me? Or maybe your exes are starting to feel a little too Joe Goldberg, like they're giving Christian Grey without the benefit of owning an airline. Here is what no one taught us about love. Attraction isn't just about who's hot or who makes you laugh. It's about what your nervous system recognizes as familiar. And when familiar equals emotionally unavailable, unpredictable, or chaotic, you're not feeling love, you're just feeling survival. So let's talk about how to stop confusing chemistry with anxiety and retrain your internal GPS for a safe and healthy love. Hey girl, and welcome back to our channel, or welcome if you are new here. I'm Monet, your mindset coach and tour guide to your higher self. And if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button so you never feel like you have to figure it out all on your own again. Today, we are unpacking why we keep getting attracted to the wrong people. You know, the Klauses, the Conrads, the Chuck Basses of the world. They're emotionally unavailable, but really rocking that leather jacket. It's giving instantly irresistible but peak I can fix him energy. We're going to dive into what is actually happening in your brain and body and how to rewire your nervous system so you can finally feel safe receiving a love that doesn't require a full-time therapist or a breakup playlist. So let's dive into why you're attracted to the wrong people. The toxic love cycle shows up in 6 main ways. And today we're going to name each one with a little help from the ladies of my very favorite show, The Vampire Diaries. So let's meet them. Number 1 is familiarity doesn't mean safety. So meet Elena. She keeps ending up in relationships that feel intense and complicated and even painful because deep down her nervous system recognizes that dynamic as home. She doesn't want chaos, but it feels familiar, and familiar equals safe. Maybe she grew up where love and loss were really tightly linked, and where affection was inconsistent. So calm felt suspicious. Now, when she meets someone who's emotionally available, her body goes, this feels off. But when someone who is hot and cold, distant one day and obsessed with her the next, her nervous system lights up and says, you love me, you're obsessed with me, you want to marry me. That is the basal ganglia, your brain's habit hub fast at work. And it doesn't care if a pattern is good for you, just if it's familiar. Because to the basal ganglia, familiarity equals efficiency, and efficiency is falsely interpreted as safe. Now that we've met Elena, we have to meet her doppelganger. Katherine is all about survival over satisfaction. So, meet Katherine. She doesn't fall in love, she survives it. Her relationships are not about connection, they're about control. Because for Katherine, vulnerability is dangerous. So if someone is stable or emotionally available, her nervous system goes, whoa, absolutely not, way too risky. But someone who's unpredictable or distant or chaotic, that feels like something she knows how to handle. For her, it's the amygdala and the HPA axis doing their job. The amygdala is your emotional smoke detector, and the HPA axis is your hormonal panic button. So they scan for danger 24/7, even when the threat is just someone being kind to you. Katherine's nervous system doesn't crave joy, it craves survival. In third place, we are talking about trauma bonds. So meet Rebekah. Rebekah is not looking for love, she is looking for intensity. She doesn't trust a slow building connection, she needs that rush. One minute she's begging to be chosen and the next she's pushing love away. Because for her, love has always meant inconsistency. What's actually happening for her is a biochemical loop between dopamine and cortisol. So dopamine gives her the rush when they finally text her back, but then cortisol spikes when they disappear for another 3 days. And it feels magnetic, but it's actually a chemical dysregulation. Rebekah is not in love. She is being biochemically bamboozled. And while Rebekah is searching for intensity, in fourth place is the still trying to earn love, meeting Bonnie. Bonnie is the protector. She's the emotional and literal anchor, and she is the girl who always shows up for people. And because love in her life has always come with strings, she thinks that's just how it works. So when someone offers to love her freely, her brain goes, where's the test? Where's the struggle? Where's the drama? For her, the prefrontal cortex has wired love into a survival strategy. It stored every good job and gold star that she received and turned it into a belief that love equals performance. Bonnie doesn't want chaos. She just wants to matter. But she thinks that she has to always and constantly earn that right. So she overextends herself and offers way too much, even if she's not getting love in return. Which leads us to her best friend. For Caroline, low self-worth is the culprit. Caroline is the planner, the overachiever, the queen of, I'll just fix it myself and then they'll love me. Caroline doesn't sabotage love because she's dramatic. She does it because deep down, she doesn't believe she deserves it. For her, it's the reticular activating system, or the RAS, which is your brain's internal filter. Her inner belief says, I'm not lovable unless I'm perfect. And so her reticular activating system says, okay, say less. Here's a playlist of people who will confirm that. Caroline doesn't need to chase more validation. She just needs to start believing that she's enough right now. And last but definitely not least, we have the calm feels boring girly herself, Isobel. Isobel had the love, she had the life, she had the security, and she ran from all of it. Because for her, peace didn't feel peaceful, it felt boring. And her nervous system is wired for chaos, so stability didn't feel exciting, it felt fake. Isobel's culprit is the autonomic set point, which is the baseline your nervous system returns to. Because she lived in survival mode for years, calm now feels foreign and a little bit boring. But it doesn't have to stay that way. She could rewire her system to crave peace instead of fear it. So now that you've met our ladies, if you saw yourself in any of those girls, or maybe all of them, the first thing I want you to know is that you are not broken, you're just in a pattern, and patterns can always be rewritten. So let's start with Elena. If you too confuse familiarity with safety, you want to try pairing calm with consistency. This can be as simple as lighting the same candle every morning and taking 3 deep breaths, or putting on a soothing playlist while you journal, or even making a weekly comfort meal and serving it with a glass of your favorite drink. Pairing calm with consistency is how you teach your basal ganglia that peace can be your new normal. Now, if you're more like Katherine and you're stuck in survival mode, you want to practice safe touch and self-anchoring. This can look like putting a hand on your heart and saying, we're safe now, this isn't then. Or even rubbing your fingertips together and noticing their texture, or gently tapping on your collarbone or arms. Even just a little self-soothing hug. These practices calm your amygdala and your HPA axis so you stop seeing love as a threat. Katherine didn't learn how to self-soothe as a child, but she definitely can learn it now as an adult. Moving on, if you're like Rebekah, you are in desperate need of a dopamine detox. So you want to step away from the text and the fantasy spirals for 3 days. And in those 3 days, replace that high with a soft novelty. Maybe you go on a walk somewhere new, or you listen to a playlist that you've never tried. You can even cook something unfamiliar, but you can start really small. Pick one afternoon, and then pick one Saturday, and then build it up to one weekend. You have built a tolerance for chaos, so now you need to work on building a tolerance for calm. Moving on to my sweet Bonnie. If you're like Bonnie, you need to stop waiting for someone else to validate you. So each morning and each night, you want to write 3 things that you're proud of. Maybe it's, I didn't over-explain myself today. Or, I asked for what I needed. Or simply, I gave myself grace. What you're doing by noticing these 3 things is rewiring your prefrontal cortex to believe that you already are worthy. You may need to hear, and what Bonnie definitely needs to know, is that being proud of yourself doesn't take a big hero moment. If you're like Caroline, you want to retrain your reticular activating system to look for evidence that love is already present in your life. The best way to do this is through micro moments. So you're going to start a note in your phone called Today I Felt Loved When. And you're gonna log tiny moments of proof. Your barista complimented your nails. You made yourself lunch and sat down to eat. Someone held the door open for you. A friend texted you a funny meme, which means that they thought of you. Or your blowout looks absolutely incredible and you felt really pretty. But each day you want to find 2 self-love moments and 2 other love moments. Now again, these do not have to be huge. They can be as simple as somebody smiling at you as they walk by or holding the door open for you. And you're going to repeat this cycle, and that is how your brain is going to learn to expect love. If you're like Isobel, you want to start naming the peace. So when you feel grounded, you want to say it out loud, so you're actually acknowledging it. Oh, this is peace, and this is what I want more of. You want to notice when your jaw is unclenched, or when your body feels hydrated, or even just relaxed. Even those moments when your playlist hits just right. Noticing these small, peaceful moments is going to start training your brain to look for them and associate them with a positive. It can truly be something as simple as smiling if your heatless curls turned out cute this morning. This is going to let your nervous system memorize those moments. And you don't need to do this all overnight. You just want to start with 1 moment a day. And as you build it, you're going to start memorizing the feeling of peace. And by memorizing it, you're going to become more familiar with it, which will help your brain deem it as safe. We've talked about our 6 girlies and the 6 ways that they can start reversing this toxic love cycle. But let's bring this into your real life. With these, choose what resonates and let it be simple and doable and supportive. So your homework is to write out the version of love that you're calling in. And not just what it looks like, but how it feels. How your body feels in their presence. How you argue, how you heal, how you laugh, how you rest. You want to become familiar and clear on what that love that you desire actually looks like. Before I met Jerry, I was in a relationship with a true nightmare of a human being. And when I left that relationship, I had a lot of clarity. Even though it was maybe the worst time of my life, it also helped me know exactly what I did not ever want to be with again. So before my first date with Jerry, I made a list, and it wasn't just of what I wanted in a partner, it was about what I wanted to feel like in that love. This list helped me recognize safety when it showed up, because your reticular activating system cannot look for what you haven't defined. You have to give it a map. So get cozy, take out your journal, and write out what you want in a partner. Find out what your love language is. How do you want to feel love? And how do you want to express it as well? And then pick one of the 6 rewiring practices that we talked about today and try it this week. Just choose one, even if you identified with multiple of the girlies. But for this week, try one and do it like it matters, because it does. If you identified with more than one of these girlies, next week, try another one. But give yourself a full week to really sink into the feeling of this shift. If this video felt a little bit like a Vampire Diaries therapy session, you are so welcome. And if you're ready to become the radiant, successful, healthy, confident version of you just in time for summer, go binge watch the Matcha with Monet playlist next. It is packed with cozy, brain rewiring, soul activating goodness that will help you stop settling and start healing so you can finally feel like you again. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you never feel lost or like you have to figure it out all on your own again. Because you're not lost, you just need a tour guide. And if our girlies and Vampire Diaries can find their epic loves, you can too. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you next time. Bye guys!